Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapiana, and this is your Shut the Fuck Up. You know, this could be a short take because nothing's ever totally funny when it comes to the GOP. They're just not funny most of the time. But sometimes they're extremely funny. So we're going to start tonight with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So apparently, towards the end of last week, Marjorie was very disgruntled with her pay rate. Apparently, she is grossly underpaid at $174,000 a year. Now, that's not even close to what the average American's yearly salary is. The average American's yearly salary is much lower than that. It is actually even below $100,000 a year. So she's out there whining that she was making more money in the private sector than she is working in Washington for the government. I wish I could say that I felt bad for Marjorie, because I really don't actually have any idea what Marjorie Taylor Greene actually does for a living. But somehow she's managed to amass $41 million in personal wealth. That was at my last check. I did a video on it not long ago. So I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. I mean, personally, and I went on her Twitter page, her Twitter feed, and I told her this: Marjorie, feel free to quit at any time. Honestly, my heart will not break. My heart will not break. Go back to the private sector. You know, go back to whatever it is, whatever company you and your husband had where you got a PPP loan in the order of $300,000 and got it forgiven during COVID. This is a woman who's whining about her $174,000 a year salary on the backs of the American taxpayers, some of whom don't even represent. She doesn't even represent. Some of us actually take great offense that we have to pay that witch's salary. Okay? And she's out there complaining while people are starving on the streets. And you know, I have no problem with you leaving, Marjorie. Please, by all means, leave. We will live without you. I just have to say, we'll actually all be much happier without you. I have no idea what the people in Georgia are thinking, returning her to office with 60% of the vote, when they could have had Marcus Flowers. But it's the same logic that, you know, I don't understand about Texas, where they have absolutely no electricity in the middle of an ice storm, the only state in the union that is affected like that, because they did not want to be on the grid with the rest of the country. They have to be that fiercely independent Lone Star state. And they reelected Governor Abbott, who was doing absolutely nothing to solve that problem, when they could have had Beto O'Rourke. I don't understand it. So, Marjorie, you can shut the fuck up, because there are a lot of people a whole lot worse off than you are. Tonight, number 2, Lauren Boebert. You know, Lauren Boebert, you know, is an amazement to me. This is a woman who didn't graduate high school and failed the GED 3 times. And she is somehow serving in Congress. And we were talking about the Chinese balloon, okay, which is actually, you know, the length of, I forget what it is. It's the length of 3 something. It's like a 7-mile thing. It's huge. It's a spy satellite, actually. It isn't a fucking weather balloon. It actually isn't a balloon at all. She's talking about how it never would have happened under Trump, even though it did happen 3 times under Trump. And we've admitted that it's not really Trump's fault. Apparently, the Pentagon said that they didn't have the technology to detect it when he was in office. Don't ask me why. I don't know. We seem to be able to detect it now under Biden. I don't understand it, but this thing is 60,000 feet in the air. And of course, you have Don Jr. telling the people of Montana to fire their guns at it, because apparently he has no idea, you know, about just how far bullets can travel before the law of gravity takes over. He is a very challenged young man. But Lauren Boebert made the brilliant statement that it's only 60,000 feet in the air. That's about a mile. Shut the fuck up, Lauren. It's not about a mile. 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. Okay? 5,280 feet. You know how I know that? I know that because I went to Catholic school and we had that beaten into our heads. They had us memorizing all kinds of stuff. 5,280 feet is equal to 1 mile. This is 60,000 feet in the air. So it's somewhere on the order of, I don't know, maybe 12 miles up. There ain't no bullet that's going to reach there, okay? That's why they sent planes up to shoot it down. And we're not going to get into a discussion of the spy satellite at all and why we didn't shoot it down over Montana, over where people live. We're not going to go there because we already made a video on that. It's on our YouTube channel, which you can visit anytime. We actually have 2 of them. I'll try to put the other one in as well. But you can go to our YouTube channel and, sign up there and you'll see everything you see here with all of the detail in the description. So you see where we get our facts. So I would like to invite Lauren Boebert to maybe perhaps shut the fuck up. You can find out how many feet are in a mile if you just look it up on the interweb. Just Google it, Lauren. Just fucking Google it. God almighty, these people. And then in closing, we'll talk about George Santos just a little bit. But really, this is a shut the fuck up for Kevin McCarthy more than anything. Because with the slimmest of all possible leads in the House, they really can't afford to give anybody up. But George Santos stepped up to the plate last week and stated that he was taking himself off the committees until all of the questions surrounding him can be resolved. They're never going to be resolved because he's a fucking liar. He lies about everything. And guess what? He also lied about that. He did not take himself off the committees. Kevin McCarthy finally admitted today that they thought it was best if he was stripped of his committee assignments. I personally think he should be stripped of his job because with the number of lies this man has told, he is not just a fibber. He's not just telling white lies. He essentially defrauded the people who voted for him. His entire life is a lie. We don't even know what name is his real name. We don't even know if he's a fucking citizen of the United States or if he has dual citizenship. We don't know where he was living when he ran for office. So please, spare us, George. Spare us. You did not take yourself off the committees. You were stripped. But of course, Kevin McCarthy is a coward. He's a jellyfish. He's a coward. And he just can't come out and say that. And he's never going to give up that seat because guess what? If there were a special election today, it may just go back to the Democrats. And that is something the GOP does not want to do. So, folks, that's it for tonight. But, hope springs eternal. And tomorrow night, it is the State of the Union address. Everybody's loaded for bear on that on the GOP side. Personally, I'm not watching it. I read the transcripts the next morning. I've never watched the State of the Union address. I'm going to watch horror movies instead. I find them much less stressful. And we will talk to you soon. Have a great night.